Some of the things we did on the first day of the horse awareness course, we started by thinking about and looking at the horse's senses. We thought about both how our senses interact with them. So for example, we took out different horses in the yard and were smelling them in different areas and then comparing different horses and their smells. Which obviously illustrated how our senses interact with the horses and how our different senses might influence us in ways we're not aware of. And then we were also thinking about how the horses' senses influence them and how we can pick up on them. So for example, sight and sound. And we did some experiments with different horses on the yard and how they react to different sounds, so music and clapping. And really working with the horses as individuals and thinking of them as individuals. In terms of that work, looking at the horses' senses and how that would lead on into perhaps more traditional ideas of horsemanship, the day-to-day activities we do with them, handling, leading, grooming, tacking up. I guess sort of the strong point was thinking about how they take things in all the time and how we're interacting with them into what we think is quite basic routine tasks, and actually what they're taking on board, what they're learning from that process, what we're sending out to them during those kind of quite standard sort of processes. And I guess for me it was also thinking about taking it back to basics and horses as animals and interacting with them, and that sometimes we forget sort of them as animals and actually kind of how they're experiencing things, and then how that leads into our sort of day-to-day interaction with them. So I think you're often sort of taught about tacking up or you're taught about grooming, but are you really sort of taught or thought to really think about the horse's senses? And that's actually quite a basic thing, and I think probably where awareness and education should start, and then that builds up to, well, what would you like to do with the horse? I think for me a strong feeling I have with this is I have always wanted to ride and be with horses, but most of the yards I've gone to have been very traditional horsemanship, and I've always felt there's something missing, there's something wrong, and I've always felt it's in me, because when I've tried to say, was there a different way of working, it's kind of like, no, you make the horse do what you want it to do, and it's just never sat right with me. But I understand that horses need boundaries and discipline, and they need to be asked clearly what it is you want them to do, but what I like is that you're asking them to work with you.